everyone out there in listening land, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday evening. This is Game On. I'm Katie B. Davis. We are coming to you live from our studios on Thompson Bridge Road in Gainesville on AM 550, FM 102.9 WDUN. We're going to have a little fun during our hour together. And by we, I mean myself and my producer, Brian Perkle, who's not only running the beats, but quite insightful when it comes to sports chatter. For those tuning in for the first time, this is your local and regional sports talk. We're on from 7 to 8 each and every weeknight. And so thankful to be that way. I did not have a Thanksgiving meal today. And I'm not really sad about that. And I started thinking about the logistics of Thanksgiving. And hear me out on this before you roll your eyes or turn your dial. My mother, and we're having our Thanksgiving this weekend, but we didn't have it today. A couple of reasons for that. One of them was I had to come into work, and we want all the family members in attendance. But the other one was we're kind of used to shuffling things on Thanksgiving. My father was a football coach, and his teams were, frankly, usually playing this weekend. And so, we've always shuffled things around. That's a lot of the reason I went Halloween. On Halloween, I'd go out by myself because people had other things to do, frankly. That sounds a little rough, but that's the truth. It's the truth of the matter. I grew up hard. I grew up right. But anyway, the logistics of Thanksgiving. We also have it different days because there's another side to the family, right? So there's my family, and then there's the in-laws. So part of my family has to go to the in-laws for Thanksgiving, and then you have another Thanksgiving with your immediate family. Do you follow me? You see where I'm going here? So if you're going to go to all the trouble to make a Thanksgiving meal, and it is a lot of trouble. My mother has technically been cooking since yesterday, and we're not eating till Saturday. It's a lot of trouble. Best you believe people need to sit down and eat the sin out of that meal. Well, if they're already full from a Thanksgiving meal from before in the day, that's just kind of a waste, isn't it? It's a very sad waste. Yes, that's what I had time to think about today on this Thanksgiving Day. The logistics of Thanksgiving. Why my family did not have Thanksgiving on a Thursday. We are having it on a Saturday for all those reasons I just mentioned. Also, Thanksgiving to me, and this is so harsh. People are eye roll. We're never listening to KDB ever again for what I'm about to say. Thanksgiving technically to me is just a gateway to Christmas. I know that's harsh. I know that's harsh. Because at Thanksgiving we are celebrating something. But, really, I'm just pumped that I can now play Christmas music without people, grunting.
Thanksgiving is more or less like the St. Louis Arch of holidays.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's nice and it's there and people know about it, but
right.
You just want to get past it and get towards the good stuff.
Right. You don't get presents on Thanksgiving. I know I got eye rolls there because that's not what Christmas is all about, KDB. That's not the spirit of Christmas. It really is. It's just a gateway to Christmas for me. We've got Christmas music streaming on Stream 3 of WDUN.com, and we'll have it streaming through December 25th, so make sure that you go check it out. Bill Main does a lot of work, our program manager here at Jacobs Media, for WDUN and 1240 ESPN Radio to get that thing up and running, so make sure you go check it out. It's playing out of one of our production rooms, and we are going to get to some sports talk here eventually, folks. It's playing out of one of our production rooms, and I just love walking past it and singing. I forgot last night, and it's kind of spooky, though, if you're not prepared for it, because it's a very quiet building if you're here by yourself. Then all of a sudden, you get about a 2-foot window of just sound, and it's just Christmas music, and it's haunting, angelic music. It is. But Stream 3, WDUN.com, where to go to listen to that Christmas music. So we're going to be talking a lot about what we're thankful for, what sports teams should be thankful for on this Thursday during Game On, our time together from now until 8 o'clock. And I wanted to start with what I am thankful for as a sports fan. And these are really things that keep me coming back, that keep me watching games, even if I don't have a dog in the fight. Why do you watch sports? It's for the things you're thankful for. Rivalries, I am thankful for, I love the prospects of this weekend. Now, every one of the rivalry games happening could be an absolute blowout. They absolutely could be. I don't think they're going to be. They absolutely could be. But Clemson, South Carolina, think about that. These are two institutions. These are two parts of the state of South Carolina that can't stand each other. And they play Saturday.
Not to mention, I do have a dog in the fight as far as that one goes, because you've got to pull for Connor Shaw. You want to go out and send him out on a big win like that? Fantastic.
Senior night for Connor Shaw. Georgia Tech. I don't think that there's as much vitriol spewed between Georgia towards Georgia Tech as Georgia Tech towards Georgia. And people have said before, a win against Georgia means more for Georgia Tech than a win against Georgia Tech means for Georgia. And I hate to say that I agree with that in some ways, because well, you don't want to tick anybody off.
If we were actually to lose a few games in the series consecutively like they have,
I think that's it.
That would bring it back.
Georgia has been so dominant. I think the last time Georgia Tech won more than 5 in a row was in the 40s and 50s.
It's similar to the UGA University of Florida rivalry. It was very one-sided for a while, so one of the fan bases had a lot more vitriol spewed at the other side.
Right.
But it'll come back around one of these days.
But still, a great rivalry. Good old-fashioned hate, right? A great rivalry. Auburn, Alabama. It doesn't get any better than that. I'll tell you a quick story about the Auburn-Alabama rivalry. You've all seen the commercial on ESPN, Roll Tide. And Auburn fans have picked the one of 6 mascots they have to chant, and they say War Eagle, because they do have several mascots. So you say Roll Tide, and you say War Eagle. And when you are born in the state of Alabama, it's picked for you who you're going to cheer for. And it's either Alabama or Auburn. You can't have Auburn football and Alabama basketball. You can't have Alabama football and Auburn basketball. It doesn't work like that. You're either or in that state. I was at Mardi Gras last year. First stop was Mobile, Alabama, the site of the first Mardi Gras. It's where Mardi Gras originated. Went to Mobile, Alabama. Had a friend whose family was very involved in the Mardi Gras down there, riding in parades and whatnot. Great time. Unbelievable time. But in the Holiday Inn, downtown Mobile, Alabama, getting ready to go to the parades, it was a circular hotel. So the halls were in a circle. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got off, the elevator went up through the center of the hotel. You got off the elevator, and then it was a circle.
Almost donut-shaped in a sense.
Exactly. So I get off the elevator, and sitting to the right of the elevator, a group of girls, and then walking in front of the elevator, a co-ed group. And the group of girls sitting to the right of the elevator were talking about Alabama. And the group walking past them, a couple of them had on Auburn shirts. I'm not making this up. Group of girls sitting on the floor in unison, almost as if they had rehearsed it. Roll Tide. Did not make eye contact with the people walking in front of them. Said that, Roll Tide. The co-ed group walking past, War Eagle. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's real. They really do that. And here I thought Paul Feinbaum was just making it all up. But I'm thankful for rivalries as a sports fan. Even today, and yes, the Detroit Lions beat the stew out of the Green Bay Packers. That is a great Thanksgiving Day rivalry. I love rivalries. Duke, North Carolina in men's basketball. UConn, Tennessee in women's basketball. Even though we don't get to see it a lot, it's still a rivalry. Love it. I'm thankful for buzzer beaters. Even so much as when a team of mine gets beaten by one. Tom Brady, last-second touchdown pass against the New Orleans Saints. Wasn't that fun to watch? It was a buzzer beater. March Madness. That's why everybody loves March Madness, because of the prospect of the buzzer beater. Buzzer beaters are why I am a thankful sports fan. Feel-good stories. Every team's got at least one, and a lot of them come out this time of year as we're going from Thanksgiving into the Christmas season. A time of giving, whether it's giving thanks or giving of yourself, servitude. Feel-good stories. I love that sports do, in fact, even though they can bring out the crazy, bring out the best in people, too. And we've seen it with professional sports teams throughout this week, giving back. Those are feel-good stories to me, whether they're handing out turkeys or serving food, or, you know, the good news clinics and the athletes that work there and serve food. Feel-good stories. That's why I'm thankful as a sports fan. And this is going to sound odd, but I'm a thankful sports fan because of the lows. Georgia's season, a low for me this year. But next season, when maybe we're playing an SEC title game, or when maybe we beat South, I will appreciate the high of that more because of this season. Falcons fans, you will appreciate the success that is coming, and it is coming more because of this season. As a Saints fan, the Saints did not look good against the Falcons, but they won. And I remember last year walking out of the Dome, and the Saints had gotten blown out by the Falcons and were mired in a horrible season. And while the win was ugly, I wasn't going to fuss. It was still a win. And because of the low of last year, I can appreciate the high of this year, even if it's just some meaningless win. The lows of sports, because they make you appreciate the highs. Those are a few things I am thankful for as a sports fan. What are you thankful for as a sports fan? If you're tuned in to Game On this Thanksgiving night, you can give us a call, 770-535-2911. We'll commiserate together. Coming up, Climate Solutions giveaway. You know what that means. It means you're going to be in the running for the trip for two to the Gaylord Opryland Resort. So make sure you've got those fingers ready to dial us up. We're also going to talk a little Falcons and what area teams should be thankful for this Thanksgiving. Come on back and join us. This is Game On.
Love to eat turkey, 'cause it's good. Love to eat the turkey like a good boy should, 'cause it's turkey to eat so good. A turkey for me, turkey for you. Let's eat turkey in a big brown shoe.
I love it.
Love to eat the turkey at the table. I once saw a movie with Betty Grable. Eat that turkey.
The Adam Sandler Thanksgiving song. I'm thankful that you all are joining us this Thursday evening on Game On. Thank you so much for being with us. Both Brian and I feel that way about you. And because of that, let's do a quick giveaway. Hopefully we have at least one person out there listening, correct, that's going to give us a call. We are giving away, or I should say, our partners at Climate Solutions, great partners of ours here at WDUN, want to give a lucky listener 2 nights at the Gaylord Opryland Resort, Christmas at Gaylord Opryland Resort. Just give us a call, 770-535-2911, and you will be in the drawing for the 2 nights at the Gaylord Opryland Resort. The drawing is going to be December 3rd during the Bill and Joel morning show. Along with your call and being entered into the drawing for the 2 nights at the Gaylord Opryland Resort, you are going to receive a planned service agreement, care of Climate Solutions. This giveaway presented by Climate Solutions. You'll get 2. They'll come look at your climate systems twice, once in the fall, once in the spring, is what I'm saying. So that's what you're going to get immediately if you give us a call at 770-535-2911, and you will be in the running for the December 3rd drawing. Again, 2 nights at Gaylord Opryland Resort, 2 tickets to Holly Jolly Town Square, 2 tickets to Lori Morgan's Enchanted Christmas Dinner and Show, 2 tickets to the Radio City Christmas Spectacular starring the Rockettes. We really appreciate Climate Solutions for allowing us to do this giveaway. Great friends of ours they are. In the meantime, let's talk a little turkey. Sports Illustrated came out with a list of turkeys of the year. And I'm not going to go through the whole list because it doesn't matter. You can go look on it. Go to si.com. But I was interested in one of their turkeys of the year. It was ignorant sports talk radio personalities. I was not listed. You will all be happy to know. I was not one of the ignorant sports talk radio personalities they were referring to. But in the words of Sports Illustrated, it's been a busy year for the fraternity. In June, and we remember this well in this area, Nick Cellini, Steak Shapiro, and Chris Domino, who were the host of Mayhem in the AM, mocked former New Orleans Saint Steve Gleason, who suffers from Lou Gehrig's disease, on air. We remember that very well. On November 3rd, but they gave a couple more examples, and I want to bring those your way now. On November 3rd, Dan Cilio, a host of Palm Beach's Sports Talk, tweeted an offer to give $1,000 to any Miami player that takes this kid out while attaching a photo of a Florida State player. You know, one of the things I would hope sports radio people would pride themselves on, one of the things, is not being a homer. I cheer for the New Orleans Saints. I cheer for the Duke Blue Devils men's basketball team. I cheer for the Tennessee Lady Vols women's basketball team. But if they do something wrong, if I'm not happy with that, I'm going to tell you. I don't look at those teams through rose-colored glasses. I don't gloss things over with them. And I want them to win because I'm a fan, but as you saw with the picks against New Orleans and Seattle, I'm realistic in my fandom. I know what the what is. But this Dan Cilio from Palm Beach tweeted an offer to give $1,000 to any Miami player that takes this kid out, and he attached a photo of a Florida State player. What a homer. Then on November 7th, Damon Bruce, a midday host of a sports talk show in San Francisco, launched an 8-minute rant about how women were ruining sports. None taken. Which are, quote, set to men. This rant that Damon Bruce did, apparently went on for 8 minutes, did not cost him his job. Now, what Nick Cellini, Steak Shapiro, Chris Domino did cost them their jobs. What Dan Cilio did in Palm Beach did cost him his job. But this rant Damon Bruce went on did not cost him his job. So Sports Illustrated also put, as a Turkey of the Year, his boss, a man named Lee Hammer. He gets honorary membership in this club of cretins. That was a quote from Sports Illustrated. I absolutely love the Turkeys of the Year and hope that I never fall into the ignorant sports talk radio personality category. Do I say things that are ignorant? Yes, everybody does. You can't be right all the time. And sometimes you just want to be funny and not care. But what they're talking about with ignorance here is doing something that even someone who's not a radio personality should do. Doesn't have a sports radio show, right? $1,000 to a Miami player that takes this kid out while attaching a photo of a Florida State player. Who does stuff like that?
Given the new climate with injuries in sports and the Bounty Gate scandal with the Saints last year, that's one of the dumbest things he could. Now,
you had to bring up Bounty Gate.
If he would have thrown like a racial slur in there, it's the one way he could have made that worse. But
yeah,
in this
that's
sports
true.
climate right now, that's one of the dumbest things you could say.
I don't understand any of it. Hey, you want to know? Oh, let's get to this first because we've still got people blowing up our phone lines on this Thanksgiving. So thankful for that we are. Jesse Hall of Stevens County, I am assuming.
No, Stevens. I looked up on the map because I wasn't sure. Apparently, it's just under Toccoa, just south of Toccoa.
Very nice. Of Stevens. Jesse Hall has won the planned service agreement from Climate Solutions and is in the running. His name will be in the drawing for the 2 nights at the Gaylord Opryland Resort. So congratulations, Jesse. Don't forget to listen to the Bill and Joel Morning Show on December 3rd. That's when the drawing will occur. And for all of you who called in, and we had a great number of people call in, for all of you who called in, you can go to the contest page of WDUN.com, the contest page of WDUN.com, and get your name in this December 3rd drawing for 2 nights at the Gaylord Opryland Resort. Fantastic. You want to know a telltale sign that the Christmas season 'tis here? The Macy's tree is officially lit in Atlanta, and people are standing outside Best Buy for a $5 television. I mean, seriously, would you ever stand outside Best Buy, Brian?
I did last year briefly, but that was for work.
And I don't mean stand outside.
No,
like
I've never understood. It bothers me because I like to celebrate the reason for whatever particular holiday it is.
Right.
And the crass commercialism and everything nowadays, I'm kind of jaded for a 23-year-old. I'm cynical.
That's such an old soul you are, Brian Perkle. All right, when we come back, what are Brian and I thankful for? We'll tell you. Some best of Thanksgivings coming your way. We'll kick off our Friday game night coverage tomorrow night with the Burger King Tailgate Show. This one's going to begin at 6:40. The fewer the teams we have in the mix, the shorter the Burger King Tailgate Show gets. 6:40, the kickoff for the Burger King Tailgate Show, and thusly the kickoff for your Friday game night coverage. So make sure you join us. We'll be giving away a $25 gift card to Play It Again Sports as we have each and every week this football season. And we'll also give a Great American Cookies cookie cake away to our Fan of the Week. Burger King Tailgate Show begins at 6:40 on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. So a quick question before we have a little fun with Thanksgiving. Does anybody know of a restaurant open tonight? And I'm asking for totally selfish reasons. I don't have any food in my house, and the dog is very stingy about his food, so I'm not going to be consuming that. So, yeah, I just wanted to know if anyone knew of a restaurant open. Understand that if there's not one open, I get it. I'm on board. Thanksgiving, you should be spending it with your families. I'm here with Brian. See? Family. I understand. But girl needs some dinner around 8 o'clock when game on ends. So if you know of a restaurant open, I need name and location, 770-535-2911. Not kidding. Call us.
If all else fails, we have the break room here, so you have some honey buns, Reese's Cups, maybe a few Cheez-Its. And I figure that can probably sustain you till tomorrow.
And with that, Brian, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Thanks. Oh, I'm really partial to macaroni and cheese, which is a very generic dish that you can have literally any day of the year. But something about Thanksgiving mac and cheese, I usually save it for last. I'm more particular. I like to put that on as the last layer that goes in my belly and just warms me up.
We've never had macaroni and cheese at our Thanksgiving. That's not something we have.
I made sure to request it because I apparently got left out for our lunch today, and we're doing bigger family things tomorrow, so I made sure to throw it in.
That she wanted mac and cheese.
And I know my parents are for definite fact listening right now, so mac and cheese tomorrow.
Brian wants mac and cheese. Yeah. My favorite Thanksgiving dish is my mother's. Now, it's a very particular, my mother's dressing. Now, it's not stuffing because it doesn't go in a bird. It's dressing. I
was about to bring that up. I didn't know what you were going to say, but I was about to ask if you knew one of those people who is a stuffing or dressing fan. I've never been able to wrap my mind around
But only
that.
My mother's.
It's not a food. It's an accoutrement.
It's a conglomeration is what it is. It is absolutely moist deliciousness. Oh, it's so fantastic. It really does taste awesome. Well, the base of it's cornbread. I mean, you can't go wrong with cornbread.
That's true. Well, I've always liked it's more of a garnish in my mind. I couldn't have a big bowl full of dressing or stuffing and just eat it. Like mayonnaise. I can eat maybe a little bit of mayonnaise on a sandwich. Right. If you give me a jar full, just like here to go to town, that's not going to work.
No, I will have dressing for lunch, cold or heated up, doesn't matter, Sunday. The post-Thanksgiving day. Unbelievable. My mother makes incredible dressing. Now, I'm not a big fan. I don't want the whole, like oysters and the stuff and stuff like that. No. Hers is very simple. It takes a lot to make it. It's labor intensive, but it's really simple, and I totally enjoy it. It is what I look forward to most.
I'm going to have to change my answer now, which makes me seem very facetious. But I just realized the last few years, my dad has started making some Brunswick stew for bigger occasions. Yeah. More of a newer thing he's been doing the last few years. Big fan of Brunswick stew.
Not so much facetious as fickle, but whatever, Brian. We'll let you have that.
It's
all right.
Perfect word. Yeah.
Fickle, yes. Yeah, I know. Quite the wordsmith, KDB is. We're going to get to more sports talk here shortly, folks. Tuned in to Game On this Thanksgiving evening. Thankful for you, as we've said each and every segment. We truly, truly mean it. What's your favorite Thanksgiving memory, Brian?
This will, hopefully no one listening is sitting around the dinner table right now. If you are, maybe put down your plate or your fork, spoon for just a few seconds.
Yes, do not turn us off.
Yeah, definitely don't turn us off. Just stop eating for just a moment. I would say I was probably around just shy of 10 years old. So this was, I guess, pre-9/11 America. So this was around 99. We have a cabin up near Dahlonega that my family usually goes to for these kind of holidays. Nothing special. I'm not going to tell you the specific location because that's my property, and I'm very personal about that. But we were going there, myself, my sister, who was 2 years older than me, or still is 2 years older than me.
No, well, that doesn't change.
I haven't talked to her today, so maybe was, but hopefully is still two years older than me. And my two cousins, who are about the same age. We had a bit of a rat problem. It was a lone rat back in the day that we kept seeing, kept kind of scurrying out, but we can never quite get it. Eventually, by near the end of the night on Thanksgiving, my grandmother out of nowhere spots it, and with cat-like reflexes, just like a ninja, stomps it. Just out of nowhere, just launches herself onto it and takes care of it. And then, although we were terrified of the mouse, that's when your heart kind of breaks as a child, because you saw a life just get taken in front of your life. That's the first time I've seen that happen in my life. And so we decided to put on a funeral, as kids are wont to do. And so we bundled up and go outside, and on the front porch of this cabin, there was a little area for us, like a flower bed of sorts.
Yeah.
So we made a little mouse coffin. And this is, actually, I've done this several times in my life now that I think about it. I'm really partial to, like, critters like that.
Well.
But we had a little funeral and said some words. Prayers were said, tears were shed. My grandmother did not understand. Just because she killed the rat and she did her job.
How could the lady who just stomped on a rat understand why you all would be grieving for said rat? But that's
and to this day now, a lovely rhododendron, maybe that's what, I don't know anything about plants. I know there are trees and bushes and they're different.
Right.
But that's as specific as my knowledge gets. It was some sort of beautiful little plant, very bountiful and lively, has been there for the last 10 or 15 so many years.
Has grown from the...
Out of the ashes like a phoenix.
Out of the ashes like a phoenix. It's exactly what it is, Brian. My favorite Thanksgiving memories, it starts off a little sad, but you got to hear me out. Because much like Brian's, there's great growth that came out of it. And so that's really why it's my favorite Thanksgiving memory, is also disturbing as it is. Freshman in college, 8 hours away from home. I was a basketball player at Austin Peay State University, about 45 minutes northwest of Nashville. And while we had basketball tournaments my entire playing career over Thanksgiving, I'd still always been at home for Thanksgiving. This was the first holiday I wasn't going to be at home. We had a game in, I believe, Arkansas it was, the day before Thanksgiving. So we get back to Clarksville, Tennessee, and my parents had made the drive from Gainesville to Arkansas to watch us play. And I didn't get to play a lot that game. And it wasn't... there was really no rhyme or reason to why I didn't get to play a lot that game. And I remember thinking that, and my parents had made that drive. You don't go to games that far away if your child's going to sit the bench. So I was embarrassed and I was heartbroken and I didn't understand. I was very frustrated, and rode the bus back to Clarksville, Tennessee from Arkansas. And my parents followed the bus back to Clarksville, Tennessee from Arkansas. And they had gotten a hotel room in Clarksville. And so it was just the two of them in Clarksville, and it was me. And then the rest of my family was here in Gainesville. They were back home. And so the next day, for Thanksgiving, it was Thanksgiving Day, we had Thanksgiving in a Shoney's. And I have since, in my adult life, because I work in the media field, I have to work on holidays. It's a reality of mine, and I'm frankly okay with that. So there have been days since that day where I've had Thanksgivings at various and sundry restaurants that are open, whether it be Longstreet or Folks over on Brownsbridge Road or wherever it is. I have had Thanksgiving at restaurants, but that was the first time I had never had a home-cooked Thanksgiving. That was the first time in my life that hadn't happened. And, of course, I wasn't with my sisters, and it was just me and my mother and father, and I cried the entire time we were eating, and I couldn't look at my parents. I kept looking out the window, and I couldn't look at them because I was so embarrassed that they had driven to Arkansas, and I hadn't gotten to play. And, it was just... It was the beginning of really the end of my time at Austin Peay, because it just wasn't a place for me. A little too far away from home and things of that nature, but also just emotionally, mentally, not a good environment for me. But two things happened after that Thanksgiving. The first thing was I realized how fortunate I was and how thankful I was going to be for the rest of my life, how much my parents loved me. Do you hear what I'm saying, folks? And I realized how much I loved them and how much I loved my family and needed my family. And that's why to this day, that moment in Clarksville, Tennessee, at the Shoney's, eating on that is why I live here in Gainesville. A mile, 2 miles from my parents, a mile, 2 miles from my sisters. That's what came out of that horrible, what you all probably as a horrible, you cried all Thanksgiving meal, that's horrible. Yes, but look at what came out of it. All this greatness. I've got such an appreciation for the time I'm able to spend with my family. I've got such an appreciation for little things, like my mother's dressing. In the grand scheme of things, who cares? I care because it's a little thing, you know? All of that came out of that 1 hour meal at a Shoney's in Clarksville, Tennessee on Thanksgiving 1997.
That is a fantastic Thanksgiving story, and it makes me feel terrible because mine was not remotely about being thankful for anything. It was about death and sadness.
Hey, but out of that death and sadness comes this beautiful plant. See?
Yeah, but...
Look, parallel stories just...
But I don't care much about plants.
No, it is what it is. What should area teams be thankful for? I'm so ungrateful. What should area teams be thankful for? Jefferson, North Gwinnett, Buford, Gainesville high school football teams should be thankful they're still playing. Because there are many, many, many teams in this state that are not. The Georgia football team should be thankful that a backup has been prepped to be a one-year starter for the last 4 years. Because he's needed a lot sooner than anyone thought he was going to be needed. And what is, as we get closer and closer to it, looking as though it's going to be a pretty big game. The Falcons should be thankful that, A, this season's almost over, and B, they are going to get a chance to right the wrongs of NFL drafts past. They'll have at least the third pick. At least the third pick. And they might fall further down the draft depending on what goes on these last few games, but at least the third pick. You should be thankful that you have a chance to shore up the foundation of your team. Don't go get a play pretty, Falcons. Don't get another play pretty. Don't nobody need another Julio Jones. You need linemen. You need linebackers. You've got a secondary that in the coming years is going to be able to compete with the best of the best. Already could this year. Shut Drew Brees down twice. One time in their first game as pros. The secondary there. Your lines are killing you. You should be thankful you got a chance to shore it up. Anything you want to add to that, Brian?
The only thing I could think of when you're talking about, especially about talking about University of Georgia, and it was very crass. They should be very thankful for the fact that they have insurance on every scholarship player this year because all those surgeries are not coming out of pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
All those torn ACLs, all those insurance premiums. Looking pretty good this year. That
is actually not crass. That is really something they should be.
And that would have actually been taxpayer money. So as a future taxpayer in the state, I've paid taxes before. As a taxpayer in the state of Georgia, I am very thankful that they are insured.
Oh, Brian's just bringing it tonight, folks. All right. When we come back, a certain headline that caught my eye, and we're going to talk about an incident between the New Jersey Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers. Come on back and join us as we wrap up the Thanksgiving edition of Game On. Well, so far, I know that Steak and Shake and McDonald's are open. My sister Bonnie texted me to tell me McDonald's was open. And our friend Dustin Smith sent me a message on Facebook. Facebook page is Game On with KDB Davis, by the by. Sent us a message on Facebook to say that Steak and Shake in Oakwood was open. Keep them coming, folks. Girl needs options. You can give us a call. You can tweet me at KTB Davis, the Twitter handle. Just mention the Facebook page. I'll mention it again. Game On with KDB Davis. Send me a message or post on our wall. Or give us a call, 770-535-2911. You've got about 8.5 minutes to let me know if there are any restaurants open on this Thanksgiving where a girl can get some grub. So I read this headline and I got a little tickled. Ryan, as in Matt, as in Matty Ice, as in Matty Ice Melt. Ryan confused by Team Road Woes. That headline really made me giggle. But I thought instead of passing judgment on his said confusion, I would read the article. And read it I did. In 5 road games this season, Atlanta Falcons quarterback has 11 interceptions compared to 1 at home. He posted a season low 47.2 passer rating at Arizona just a week after setting a career high with a 148.4 passer rating at home against Tampa Bay. Ryan's average completion percentage at home, 72.9, on the road, 61.7, still pretty good. The 2-9 Falcons are 0-5 on the road this season. Now, after all that I read, I got even more tickled at the headline, and here's why. I think it's the defenses in road games that are actually confusing Matt Ryan, not the road game woes themselves. You know what I mean? It seems like the defenses are what's confounding Matt Ryan. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Just tickled me. I'm watching SportsCenter last night because for some reason I like to immerse myself in this world even once I leave WDUN. We're getting messages on Twitter. Hold on. The new Denny's on Brownsbridge Road is open.
I was about to say, I found a website, and Denny's apparently is open every hour of every day.
The new Denny's on Brownsbridge Road is open, and according to our friend David Stevens, it is awesome. Thanks for the message, David and Dustin. Got those two into Facebook. Game on with KDB Davis. Keep the suggestions coming. So I'm watching SportsCenter, and they show highlights of the Nets-Lakers game from last night. The New Jersey Nets, coached by Jason Kidd. Why? We don't know, but that's their coach. And the Los Angeles Lakers, who are not doing very well thus far this season. And wouldn't be even if Sir Gets Paid a Lot was on the roster. So, interesting thing, I've never seen this. The New Jersey Nets did not have a timeout. They were down by 1 because a Los Angeles Laker player had hit a free throw about 8 seconds to go in the game. New Jersey didn't have a timeout. Needed to call a timeout, though. Needed a timeout so that they could get a play drawn up for if the second free throw went in. So a play they could run to potentially get the game-winning shot. You follow me, you see where I'm going. Didn't have a timeout, though, so Jason Kidd on the fly tells one of his players to hit him. And he has a drink in his hand when he tells the player to hit him, and Jason Kidd had stepped out onto the court. So the player hits him, and it's his own player, hits him, the drink spills, there's a stoppage so that they can get the drink cleaned up on the floor. And while they're getting it cleaned up on the floor, a Nets assistant coach has the 5 on the floor for the New Jersey Nets on the sideline with him. Now, they're not off the court. That would be a violation. They're on the court. He's on the sideline. He's drawing up a play to get the potential game-winning shot. Little underhanded, incredibly ingenious.
What this has to be like the opening of Pandora's box. Now that coaches know that this can happen,
everybody's going to be doing it.
The coaches, because there are a lot of Weasley, underhanded coaches. Yeah, like Mike D'Antoni is one for the Lakers. I can imagine him doing this at a certain point in the near future. This is going to open the floodgates.
Well, I'm saying, ingenious, underhanded, but ingenious. And had he not been filmed mouthing "hit me," would have gotten away with it. Instead, the NBA has fined Jason Kidd $50,000 for spilling his drink on the floor in order to manipulate extra time.
That happened quickly, too. That
it did.
From
well, this actually
coming to light and then reassessing the penalty. That is amazing.
That actually, his fine just came out on Twitter. But I'm telling you, ingenious. Ryan Casper, a friend of our show here on Game On, a friend of WDUN, sent us this message on our Facebook page. Again, the page is Game On with KDB Davis. Listening to your show, Big Red should be thankful for Bobby Gruen Field. Nicest high school field in the country. Falcons said it was as nice, if not nicer, than any NFL field. How about that? We appreciate you writing us, Ryan. And folks, if you want to communicate with the show at any time, Twitter, Facebook, we're all over the place. We make it impossible for you to not talk to us. Why? Because we are just that annoying. You know, I can't think of any other instance where a coach has manipulated time. Now, soccer players are known for it, right? And it's even in the NFL player, well, not NFL, it's college players too. It might even be high school players. But football players, so we'll make the sweeping football player generalization, are beginning to do what soccer players do. Have you noticed that? They get injured and they just...
Yeah, especially if they're playing a hurry-up offense. I
Exactly.
think the more the faster the offenses are going now, defenders know if you go down, fake a cramp, that's a free timeout, and it's a way to get your breath on defense.
I'm just saying.
The only other example I can think of as far as a coach or manager doing that is in baseball, but as part of the culture in baseball is if you're trying to warm up someone in the bullpen, go out, have a fake conference on the mound. Maybe
Or a couple, yes.
Yeah, something like that just to buy yourself time. But that's part of the culture of the game. But I can't think of a single example where someone really going against the grain of like the unwritten code of how you should conduct yourself as a coach.
Yeah. Now, Jason Kidd, not thus far a very successful head coach. And why anyone thought he would be, I have no idea.
Yeah, given his history just as an individual and as a law-abiding citizen, too.
And I'll say this. It is very infrequent that great players make even good coaches. It's infrequent. I'm not saying it never happens, but it is quite infrequent that great players make great coaches. I mean, could Michael Jordan ever coach? No, because he would end up competing with his players.
You see him trying to run a franchise and it's gone
right.
disastrously.
It's pretty much abysmal. But I just wanted to point out Jason Kidd hit me, getting the drink spilled so his assistant coach could write. I'm telling you, that's genius.
And then didn't even have the right mindset to cover it up after the game when he was asked about it. He kept saying that slipped out of his hand. He had sweaty palms. He just dropped the cup.
No.
So do you remember the part where someone chest bumped you and knocked it out of your hands? At least stick with the right story.
Right. The part where someone chest bumped you and knocked it out of your hand after you said, hit me. Clear as day. And didn't try to, like, ventriloquist it either. Clearly, lips went together, and he said, hit me. Just absolutely ingenious, I got to tell you. Not something I would ever do because I'm not a big cheater pumpkin eater.
If it was a board game, it's fair game as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise,
really? You cheat in board games? We could never play.
I'm too competitive, KDB.
Well, I'm competitive too, but, you know.
Also established by our Thanksgiving stories, I'm a worse person than you are.
Oh, man. No, you're not, Brian. I'm thankful for you, Brian Perkle, and all of you who not only interacted with Game On this Thanksgiving night, but gave us a call and gave us your ears for this hour. What an amazing feeling you've just given me. Game On, folks.
She's just a girl, but she's on fire.